guys, check out the next level games for all your TCG needs. Link is down below in the description of the video. Thanks, guys. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today is Wednesday, where we talk about whatever, I feel like I'll talk about today. And if you don't know, this past weekend, we actually had an expanded regionals in, wait, where's my face at? Hold on. Let me see. Where am I at? There I am. Turn the slide on right here. Beautiful. All right. So this past weekend, we actually had a regionals in Anaheim, and surprise, surprise, Dead Draw Gaming won again. Jimmy Pendarvis is on a roll right now. Is it making number 3? Hold on. Let's see. Can we look this up real quick? Limitless tournaments. Got Jimmy Pendarvis. You got Jimmy Pendarvis and Jimmy Pendarvis made $15,000 this year playing Pokemon. Congratulations to you, Jimmy. That's just off of first place. So Jimmy's killing it. Team DDG's killing it. That's not what the video's about. If you know about the title, it's talking about what card should we ban, or I think it's gonna be called like DC ban or something ban. That's what we're talking about today, right? So good friend James Arnold. Been playing for a long time. We've both been playing for good minutes. We both have seen the game come and go. We both played some old formats. We played some new formats. We played old decks. And James has a really good post about why this card should be banned from the title and by the thumbnail, if I can make it correct. So today, let's read James Arnold's post. Hey everybody, this is going to be a post about something I have been extremely passionate about since 2010. And the majority of people that have played Pokemon with me heard me talk about at length for at least, 9 years. Double colorless energy is the primary issue in modern Pokemon. Alright, so let me start off by saying that I don't think it'll get banned. Probably won't get banned. Probably won't get banned, James. You're right. It's too much of a good card. It's easy for players to see it and just like make so many good combinations with, right? It's not going to get banned, right? I agree with that. We need something to be banned. And the reason why we need something to be banned is Zark won again in expanded. Same card, almost the same exact deck won. Zark won again. You probably won't see me talk about the deck. I hate talking about Zark and expanded, especially since it's mostly just like this super control deck and just not fun to play against or just like see or play. It's just really boring of a deck. It's good, don't get me wrong, but Zork is definitely the issue, right? And it's not even Zork. It's like Zork is not the bad card. It's like the cards that go with it, like Lucamine and now you got Faba, and we see Girafarig was being played, and like stuff like that is what was causing the issues in Pokemon, right? But let me start about the thing. I don't think it'll get banned, right? I personally don't expect any changes to the ban list until next August when they made changes the last 2 years. This is merely meant to be a legitimate discussion founded in game theory expressing my opinion on a particular card. Now, this is somewhat true. We know Pokemon usually post a ban list in August for the start of the year, but we have had a time when Pokemon had a mid-season rotation, ban, whatever you want to call it. So maybe we could see the same thing again, right? Alright, so this is merely meant to be okay, so we're just talking, right? We're just having a little topic here, right? I'm not saying the card is skillless or any ridiculous thing like that. I myself play DCS just as often as anybody else. And then, like I said, it's a good card. It is a very good card. It's just easy. You throw it in decks, or decks ready to go, stuff like that. It's been a necessary evil for the majority of competitive decks since its reprint. Without further ado, this is why double colors is the culprit in the toxicity of every single format since its reprinting in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. In a world without DCE, the competitive card pool significantly increases in size. Double colors energy places each and every card that has a CC attack requirement in a different level of power when compared to any other Pokemon. Pokemon with these attacks are playable strictly due to having an attack that requires that, when otherwise they'd be unplayable. This is talking about because most decks, they need a 2 DCE. You just put a DCE in there and you're good to go. You can play it. You're going to play these decks because they're easy to set up. You're easy to power up with these guys because they need the 2 double colors. Energy requirement, really, really good. Alright, Pokemon with these attacks are played strictly to having an attack, when otherwise they'd be unplayable. This forces a gigantic pool cards to be simply too slow to be effective in the game due to not interacting well with DCE. literally thousands of cards that have 3 energy attack also be suddenly considered would suddenly consider extra cards due to any format slowing down immensely without DC in it. And this is talking about cards that use like 3 energies and it's like DC in colors. I mean, I know 1,000 cards have 3 energy attacks. It would be suddenly would suddenly be considerable cards. So if you ban DC and you have these Pokemon that need 3 energies, now all of a sudden they're starting to look better because now you don't have these other cards being so fast. In a world without DC, deck construction is different. Decks rely around DC are typically the best decks because their attacks are typically faster than any other deck. And their deck requires less energy cards to be in and overall, allowing for more speed and more Pokemon cards. If you take a look at the decks that people have an issue with expanded, these decks have room for significant amounts of utility cards that are forced to play energy cards that do not. Zoroark Control is incredibly powerful because it is able to have a card every single turn that stops your opponent from playing the game. It was forced to play basic energy cards. It would not have this room. It would not have to pick and choose utility cards. It would use like to gain in the given event. So this is talking about if your deck didn't have the DCE, you would have to put more energies in your deck because you can't attack now, right? Because you need the DCE to attack, and that's all you need to fill it right now. But if you ban DCE, you're getting rid of just that single energy attacker, and now, since you can just attack with DCE, you have more space in your deck compared to those decks that don't have the DCEs. They got to use more space, or you're talking about like 10 to 12 instead of just a 4 to 6 we see with the DCE deck. So you have more space for more Pokemon cards, as James posted about. In a world without DCE, there's less variance. A significant number of competitive games come down to one player or the other whiffing at DC at some point and not be able to attack. While this can happen with basic energy as well, while your deck is built for a format while playing a normal amount of energy in it, you're able to more accurately plan out your turns, and there's less variance in hitting a generic energy for turn, as your deck will surely be playing more than just for DCE. So he's talking about there's a lot of games like, oh, if I hit the DC this turn, I would win, blah, blah, blah. But this can still happen when you're playing basic energy, right? You can still whiff and stuff like that. But all these decks are playing more energy, so there's less. You can't really make the argument too much as you can now. There's less luck involved because regardless of what you say, it is luck to hit your DCE. You gotta hit the computer search or the 4 DCEs at 5 cards at 60. There is some luck there of when you're going to hit your DCE. If you're playing energies, like I said, you're playing about 10 to 12 computer search, stuff like that. You can play like energy search, stuff like that to get your energies out. So there's more ways to get energy cards out of your deck compared with just DCE. You can't. So there is some luck in there for sure. And in a world without DCE, Pokemon's type is gained more relevant. With DC in the game, Pokemon's typing means less. I was looking for the best attackers that can utilize DCs, as those are most often the quickest to attack with. And he's saying, you know, with the fight Pokemon, you need like multiple fight energies. With fire guys, you need multiple fires and stuff like this. And so when your attack is just like a DCE, you can just like, you don't care. You don't care what your weakness is. We see Zoroark is doing extremely well, even though everybody's hyping Buzzwole and stuff like that. You could see, well, I guess Trevenant's not a good example because Trevenant should beat Zoroark, but doesn't. I mean, yeah, you could use Trevenant as an example, right? Like, you would think that Trevenant would, I guess, destroy Zoroark because they take a card and set up. Well, it's not a good example. It's not good. Just pretend like I was going to say. I was going to say, you know, blah, blah, blah. I was going to say, but Trevenant, I think Trevenant comes, like, broken, right? There's no DCE. There's nobody to really control it. Anyways, that's another point of topic, right? Basically it's saying, you know, you don't really care what attacker you're using. There's no real metagame. Like, you can play your fighting Pokemon, but with Zoroark, you're still just going to one-shot them regardless with the DCE. So that's the big concern there, right? An argument that I ought to hear is that if DC is banned, then X will be the best deck. There will always be a best deck or a deck to beat. This is true of any card game in any format. But Pokemon without DC allows for more creativity as cards are playable during the game being slower, meaning that it's a best deck. It's often more beatable than those that have been based on DC for the last 9 years. Then the longer a game goes, the more decisions are made per game, resulting in skill being a higher factor. And this is just like I said, right? As soon as I start talking about DC being banned, Trevenant becomes the best. But even if Trevenant becomes the best, there's cards like Weavile could destroy it pretty easily. Garbodor could destroy it really easily. There's a bunch of stuff that can take down these Trevenant decks. And so then you have this like cycle of like what's good, what's bad, and stuff like that, and we'll have this like flow of different stuff and different decks being played, right? And you get these like longer base games. You don't have these very quick games because you do have to set up, you do have to attach multiple energy and stuff like that. So that is something very interesting post to talk about, right? And then he says, players love the formats of 2004 to 2009 and love learning about these decks and recreate these old decks because of the breadth of playable decks. Creative, exemplified in the metagame, amount of skillful decision in every single game, often referred to as used as the golden years of Pokemon. I don't know how much I agree with this statement. A lot of people that I talk to that play older decks actually like the SP format the most, just because it is fine to disagree, right? I think I hear SP being the most skillful Pokemon, right? I think those are what people think are the most skillful, and those decisions really do matter. Don't get me wrong. You do have some older decks where it does really matter, like where you attach your energy and stuff like that is a huge deal, right? But even then, you have like cards that kind of like, I don't think it really matters too much because you have stuff like Cast Form, you got DRE and stuff like that, you got Scramble, so there still is like multiple ways, but even those, there's limitations compared to DCE, so I don't know if I 100% agree with this statement, right? I do think there is more decks involved, or in maybe that's not because of DCE. I think we have like a I don't know. Does it come down to Zork needs to be banned more? The more I think about it, just like being able to trade and like draw stuff seems really broken. But I do like the option. Like I was saying back then, like with DRE and stuff like that, you can play it with any deck, and that's actually really cool. So I mean, yeah, you can make your argument that like DRE and stuff and Cast Form and stuff like that, but still there's a 1 energy requirement, so I definitely can see what he's talking about there, where the old decks take a lot more skill, and I do agree with that because you do have like 1 energy attachment returns and stuff like that, and it is a very harder game to play. But the golden years, I think more people agree that SP is probably their favorite, even though I hate the SP format. I hate the SP format for sure. But I think that's what people refer it like as. I think if you talk to people, they're gonna say the best years are gonna be SP. I don't know if that's true for me. I don't know what the best years of Pokemon are for me. Of course, I want to say Virizion Genesect, right? Because that's my favorite deck. But I'll disagree with that, right? I'll disagree with that for sure. Yeah, I think there's a lot of like skillful decisions in every single game. But now it's a little bit different, right? It's just because these decks are so fast. I think the big thing about this, what's more to say than this thing, is to say that the decks were a lot slower back then. Even like SP, right, was a slower format. And I think that's what makes it a little bit more skillful decision, because you have multiple turns to take your decisions than it is so much about energy. So I think with the game being sped up, it's definitely a difference there, not so much the DC talk, right? There's a reason for this. These are these years Pokemon play does not have DC in them. Once again, I don't think that's the truth of that part, right? Yeah, the DC is not played in those. It was not reprinted to Heart Gold Soul Silver. But even then, like, I don't know if I 100% agree with that statement at all. I think, like I said, it's a combination of multiple stuff, right? You have more options with DRE and Scramble and stuff like that you can play more stuff. Guardy was broken. It depends what format you're talking about too, right? You can go to several different things. So I think there's more than just DC being banned in that significance, right? I think just these cards now are like way. I think if you had DC back then, I don't think it would do anything like dramatic, right? Because you have all these different options. And the game was a lot slower, and I think that's why you don't see it so well. But maybe, I don't know. But he says, I don't expect DC to ever be banned. It has become a fixture of the game that I don't see them moving anytime soon. But if they did, I believe the game would be a better place for the reasons above. So I do agree a lot with James has said, right? I think, you know, you would have the game significantly slower, right? You have to put more energy, stuff like that. I think you do have a less card pool of stuff you can play. We see Zork is doing so well because Zork can adapt their other, like, what you need 4 Zora, 4 Zork, 4 DCE, so that's 12. You can use your other 48 spots for whatever you want to. I mean, you see Stimulus playing some random text. like with Garbodor, we've seen like Toad, we've seen Gliscod, we've seen just like any kind of random Zoroark stuff, and I think that's the big thing there. It's like you have 12 cards in Zoroark, and then you have 48 cards to fill in with Zoroark, and I think that's why this deck becomes so busted, right? Now, Zoroark, if Zoroark did have Dark Energies, like, yeah, you get to put, like, Dark Energies and Dark Patch, but then you're still, like, significantly slower and stuff like that. I do think another thing as well that we might see coming to Dallas is that more people will start playing more Faba. I don't know how many people actually play Faba in the deck, or if they actually listened to my video last week. If you play Faba in your deck, like 2 of them, and you have 4 via Seeker, then I think you're in a significantly better spot to beat these Zoroark decks, because they are like heavily reliant on their DCEs, and if you play cards that can get rid of their DCEs, then you're looking in a really good situation, right? But the problem is you have to be consistent with doing this, and that might be the hard thing, right? You have to be a consistent deck that plays Faba as well, so that might be the problem with playing a Faba as well, because you really don't have what you need. There are cards to help you play Faba with other stuff. You have cards like a Ringaroo. You have like new Zebstrika. Zebstrika could be really good and expanded as well. You can play this with Zoroark and stuff like that. Throw your Dark Energy discard pile with Faba and stuff like that. That could be really cool to see. I think we might see increase of Wailord coming into Dallas as well, just because you can just like play Wailord and like 4 Faba, and you're just beating the Wailord, and you're just beating a Zoroark with that way. So I do think we'll see increase in Faba. I don't think we need DC to be banned straight away. You have to be somewhat crazy not to be prepared for Faba. I would not go into Dallas without playing like 2 Faba right now, just because it's like Zoroark is going to be everywhere. It was pretty much everywhere. That's my big thing, right? So let's go down. Let's read the comments. There's 90 comments, so we'll see if anybody has any good discussions, and we'll read them. A lot of these are replies if we do want to read into them, right? Perfectly said, the card has quite literally warped formats around it, and it's sad to see cards deemed unplayable because DC has functional created. Okay. I'd be okay if DC goes. If they did, I hope they would bring back cards like Double Rainbow Energy and Old Time Energies from 2006 2010. This is what I'm talking about. Even though we didn't have DCEs, we had cards like DR and stuff like that. Please no DRE, just makes Zoroark more broken. LOL. I think the requirement for DRE reprint would be updated RATA to include GX as well as EX, which is very true. So I don't have to worry about that, right? Thanks for sharing. I'm pretty sure the card designs have been made with DC in mind. Even 3 energy attackers. Think of Nidoqueen that comes out. Maybe it should be more like card designers shouldn't make overall strong attackers that can function with DZ. Rather than banning the card. Stage 2 attack with DC also Galagix exhibit pretty steady balance. And I agree with this. Stage 2 attackers do seem a lot better balanced because they are slower. And I think that's the key thing here is the slower the deck, the less you care about DCs, right? This is design space limitation. You had to constantly work the value of attacks because because of one card, then that card's problem. It's not like Garchomp level X. It's not like Gardevoir. It's not like Mewtwo X. It's not like Sasquatch X. It's not Joltik. It's not Glade. It's not Zoroark GX. And that's not the next Pokemon with Colorless requirement. It's a card that provides 2 energy with no drawback. And that's true. Basically, with DCE, there is no drawback right now. And I think this does change with Faba, like I said. So I think it's a big thing. Let's see. I think it needs to be rotated as standard for sure, which I think we will have. I don't think there has been a reprint in DCE that I can think of, right? DCE needs to be banned. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think a lot of people will probably just cover what I'm saying. DC is fine. DC is awful. It's going to be a thing that people are going to be fighting about. But I think DC is fine. I think the problem is the decks are so fast that make DC so good. But there's a little discussion about DCE and should it be banned or not. But guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you think DC should be banned or not. Have a great day. Alrighty, bye.